In this video, I'm going to show you how you can achieve British Airways Gold Status in their frequent flyer scheme called the Executive Club. I'm going to lay out a simple and easy to follow step-by-step process. We'll start by joining the Executive Club. We'll identify ways that we can hack the BA system to find affordable routes, and by the end of the process you'll have a list of trips that you can book and take, and you can then achieve BA Gold Status. Hi, I'm Phil and I'm on a grey gap year. This video follows on from my last video which explained in detail how the BA frequent flyer scheme works. Now if you're completely new to this, then I would suggest that you watch that video first, and there'll be a link to that here, I hope. But here is a very brief recap. To get status with BA, you have to earn tier points, and you can only earn tier points by flying. Tier points are different to Avios, and you can earn Avios by flying, but you can also earn Avios by using certain credit cards when you book a hotel or even when you're buying your groceries. So in this video, we're talking about tier points and we're talking about BA status. I am not talking about earning and spending Avios. BA has 3 levels of status: bronze, silver and gold. To get bronze you need 300 tier points, to get silver you need 600 tier points, and to get gold you need 1,500 tier points. This chart shows you how many tier points you'll earn for each flight you take, and you can see that the tier points you earn is determined by how far you fly and the cabin that you fly in. Now, the tier points in business and first class are significantly higher than those you get in economy, which makes sense as BA makes the most profit from customers who fly in these premium cabins. So if you fly short haul from London to Glasgow or London to Paris or Rome, then the cheapest economy fare that you earn is going to get you 5 tier points each way. But if you fly that route in business class, you'll earn 40 tier points each way. Now, New York, LA, Singapore and other destinations that sit in that over 2,000 miles long haul column, and if you're sitting in economy, then you're going to earn at least 20 tier points, but in business you'll earn 140 tier points each way. But business class flights to New York and Singapore are expensive. Business class flights to Paris are more affordable, but then you need a lot of them to reach gold. So how can we do this? How can we get gold without breaking the bank? The answer? Hacking the system. The first thing to notice in the chart is that points are awarded based on mileage brackets. Whether you fly just over 2,000 miles or about 5,000 miles, you're still going to get 140 points for flying in business. So if you fly from London to New York or London to LA, you'll get the same number of tier points even though the LA flight is much further. But you could break that LA trip up into 2 segments by flying into New York and then changing aircraft and flying on to LA. In this case, you get 140 tier points for London to New York, then you get another 140 tier points for New York to LA. You'd also save money and earn additional tier points if you started that LA flight in Dublin. You get more points because you'd earn an extra 40 tier points each way when you fly between Dublin and London in business, and you'd save money because fees and taxes are lower for flights that originate in Dublin as opposed to flights that originate in London. So there's long haul and short haul, and that's all easy enough to understand, but what is short haul plus? Well, short haul plus is the sweetest of sweet spots, and that's where I'm going to start when I move into the find and booking phase later in the video. So I do want to spend just a couple of minutes talking about short haul plus now. The thing to understand is there's no hard and fast rule of what constitutes a short haul plus destination. For example, Palermo in Sicily is short haul and you get 40 tier points each way in business, but Catania in Sicily is short haul plus and you'll get 80 tier points each way in business, even though these 2 airports are actually quite close to each other. Amman in Jordan and Cairo in Egypt are both short haul plus destinations and you earn 80 tier points each way, even though they are both over the 2,000 miles you need to earn long haul tier points. So like I say, there's no hard and fast rule, there's a list and we just have to stick to that list. But some notable entries on the list are Malta, Sofia in Bulgaria, Bucharest in Romania, the Canary Islands, Athens, Istanbul and some other destinations in Turkey. And I'll write the full list into the description below. So let's dive into step 1 and join the Executive Club. I'll cover any other mechanics I need or any other concepts we need to talk about as we go along. So to join the Executive Club, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to search Executive Club in Google. Hit the top answer. Join the club now. And then it's going to ask you some very searching questions like, what is your name? Where do you live? That kind of thing. But it's all very simple and straightforward to fill in. So let's just skip all that and move straight into step 2. What status are you going for? Of the 3 levels of status, the first level, bronze, doesn't really give us many benefits, so let's not aim for that. But silver is going to give you lounge access and some other valuable perks, and it's the status sweet spot for many people. And it's important to put some thought into the level you want to achieve and the level you think that you can achieve from the outset. Now, this is because to get to silver status, you require 600 tier points, but to get to gold, you need 1500 tier points, and you'll need to earn all of the tier points for your status level in a single membership year. When your membership year ends, your tier points reset to 0. So if you aim for gold but fall 50 tier points short, then you've essentially earned an additional 850 tier points, but you really don't have anything to show for it. And this is why proper planning and preparation is important to prevent disaster. Where do you want to go? We talked about breaking up West Coast USA trips from Dublin a little while ago, and some people book these kinds of trips to get status, but they can be complicated to plan and execute, and they can need specialist booking tools, so I'm not going to cover that in a simple step-by-step video. So I'm going to start with some simple short-haul plus destinations, and most people would be happy to travel to most of these. The more open you are about where you can travel, the more options you'll have. Now, I was unsure about some of the places, but it's through this process that I ended up in Sicily and Bucharest last year, and I had 2 amazing trips. Finding flights with value. This is the meat of the video, the bit you've all been waiting for, the part where we actually find some flights that is going to give us good value for the tier points we earn. So let's just quickly define that value first. If our budget is £3,000 and for gold we need 1,500 tier points, then logically we need 1 tier point for every £2 we spend. And if you're thinking purely in flight costs, then the cost per tier point will actually need to be as low as possible, well under that £2 per point valuation. And that's because we're going to incur some additional costs like hotels, maybe some positioning costs. A positioning cost is the cost you incur to get to the originating airport if it isn't your local airport. For example, the cost of getting to Dublin if we're flying ex-EU to the USA. But if your trip will cost more than £2, is there any other value that would make this trip worthwhile anyway? Last year, I just had a travel budget. I didn't really care where I went. I just wanted to go and see some new and interesting places. So I used that money. I picked travel that got me BA Gold status along the way, and I really don't have any idea how you would actually value that. BA's double tier points offer. BA has a double tier points promotion that runs until the end of 2024. The promotion is for double the standard tier points when you book a flight plus hotel, or a flight plus car, or a flight plus car plus hotel for at least 5 nights. Your holiday must originate in the UK and the entire trip must be complete before the 31st of December 2024. You must also be a member of the executive club before you book your trips. This can't be done retrospectively. Now, because the BA website is very slow, we're going to use 2 different websites to zero in onto better value locations and better value ideas before we finally finesse the booking through the BA Holidays website. And the first tool is BA's own low fare finder. So again, finding the BA low fare finder, just search for it, but I will put a link in the description. Skip the advert. Cheapest fares from London and economy, all one word, very cute. We're looking at European destinations, and we're obviously going to look at our list of short haul plus destinations, looking for 5-night trips in business. Okay, so we've got our list up. Now we need to just scroll down and just try and find some different locations. Antalia's on the list, but that's 216 each way. That's probably going to be a little bit too expensive. Athens has surprised me though at 165. That's worth having a little look at. Yeah, dates all the way through to March. If we click on the find button, then we're going to get to see when those dates are. 165 in business to Athens on the 14th. Well, that's quite cool. Well, let's just continue that through and see what we end up with. So the prices come out at £328, and if you combine that with a hotel, you'd actually get 320 points. So the budget there with the hotel could be about £640. Now it's unusual for Athens to actually come out at these kinds of prices. They're normally much higher, but actually I'm thinking of maybe having a look at that. I'm going to put Athens on my list. Actually, I think what we need to do here is create a time period for these bookings, because we want to book our trips as close to the start of the membership year as possible, and I'll explain why. My membership year ends on the 8th of July and then restarts on the 9th of July. So if I achieve gold status today, it's the 5th of September, then I'd be gold for the rest of this membership year, and then I'd be gold for the next membership year. And then if I didn't re-qualify, I'd get a grace period to the end of the next month after the end of my membership year. So in this case, the 31st of August. So the earlier in your membership year, the better. Now, for this exercise, July isn't going to work because it's too early in September to start booking for July next year. So let's just arbitrarily pick March as a membership month, and I'm going to book gold as close as possible to that date. So the start date is the 9th of March. That's our starting pistol, as it were. So back to the low fare finder after my Athens detour. The low fare finder is a good but a rather blunt tool for finding low fares with BA, and you do end up just scrolling through. Now, since we're looking for short haul plus destinations, they're mostly hidden within the other European destinations, so we just need our list next to us as we look through them. So Bucharest looks pretty good. Let's just expand that. Yeah, we've got prices all the way through there, so that's good. So Bucharest on the list. Catania is going to be too expensive unless unless you're particularly determined to go to the east coast of Sicily, and who wouldn't? Ooh, Istanbul. You can go on the list. The low fare finder is a good tool for finding the lowest cost BA flights in a 12-month period, and it's worth knowing about, but I do usually start most of my flight searches with Google Flights. It's easy to use, it has excellent filters. Also, we have a specific window here that we want to travel in just after the 9th of March, and so this is going to be better for that. So the easiest way to get there is just search for it, take the top answer, and that'll take into Google Flights. So we're looking for flights that are from London. We don't mind which London airport we fly out of. And we can select anywhere, or you can leave it blank, but sometimes it doesn't like it when you just leave it blank. Obviously, we're flying in business, and we're just going to leave the dates blank and hit explore. And we're going to end up with a world map with flight dates, with flight prices for all over the world for the cheapest week in the next 6 months. But we do have one more filter that we need to apply, and that is we need to tick the One World Airlines box. So we could tick BA, but actually we want to tick One World because then we'll get Iberia and Finnair and perhaps some others in there that are good. So there's 3 parts of the map that we want to have a look at. I always start with Helsinki. It rarely has good tier point prices, but I just know the one day I don't check it will be the day that it's really good value. So the other place to look then, or the next place to look, is over in the Canaries and in North Africa. That's quite a good price for Lanzarote, isn't it? And then Morocco is the next one. So Marrakesh. I went to Marrakesh last year, and Marrakesh often has places. It's a great place for a lounger break. So we can have a look at Morocco and Marrakesh. But really, the glut of the best prices are over in this East Europe section. You've got Istanbul and Athens. Catania isn't going to make the cut, I don't think. There's Malta as well. Malta's a good place to go. Very often in the off season, it's ridiculously cheap. But over here, I can see the best price, I think, is Sofia. So highlight Sofia by just clicking on the on Sofia and on the map, and then click on View Flights. And Google's going to show me that flight that it was saying was the cheapest for the next 6 months. But that's not necessarily the flight we want, but we can just use this date time picker. Down the bottom, we can change it to 5 days from 7, and then you can see all the prices for March and April. And we can see that 211, there's just 211 all over the place. So that's really good for us. We can't go on the 6th or on the 8th because that is in the old year, and then the price goes up on the 9th. But over here in the week after, we've got the 13th and we've got the 15th. So we can actually put in these dates. We need 5 days, so 13th to the 18th there. And you can see that price is holding up, 211. Sometimes you click in and the price just disappears, but we'll select that flight and we'll select this flight. And you can see 188 211, my mistake. 211, yeah, the 188s with a different company, which we're not going to do. We're going to stick by booking with BA. Life's just much easier if you stick with BA. Now, Sofia is actually a really interesting location or destination, sorry. And Bulgaria is an interesting place you can go because it's very cheap, but there's also 3 things you could do there. You could have a Sofia city break, which I actually do want to do. And then just south of, where's it gone? Just south of Sofia, there is a ski resort. So that's sort of, an hour and a half south of Sofia. So you could just rent a car for the BA holidays and have 5 days skiing. And then over on the coast, you've got a beach resort called Sunny Beach. And it's a very popular resort. You wouldn't normally fly into Sofia to go to Sunny Beach, but it's less than 4 hours from Sofia. So you could rent a car, drive there. And hotels in March are going to be blooming cheap. You'll need a sweater, but it's going to be a cheap place to go. So let's plug that into the BA Holidays website. The best thing to do is just to search for it. There is a sale on at the moment, but I find BA sales to be a damp squib. So it's flight and car in the left-hand menu. Flying from London to Sofia in Bulgaria. What were the dates? 13th, wasn't it? 13th to the 15th? No, 18th, that's better. In club, and there's only me. So obviously car hire is going to be shared between the two of you if you're a couple. But it will, obviously, I'll be covering that cost. So there could be a reduction there. Oh, look at that. So it's £293 for business flights to Sofia and car hire for 5 days. And that is going to earn 320 tier points. So that is excellent value. But I think we could actually improve on that by looking at flying out of a regional airport. Now, if I fly from London to Sofia on a direct flight, I earn 80 tier points. And if I fly from Edinburgh to Sofia on a direct flight, I also earn 80 tier points. Except there isn't a direct flight from Edinburgh to Sofia. So if I book a flight from Edinburgh to Sofia, I am going to fly via London and I'll earn 40 tier points from Edinburgh to London and then 80 tier points from London onto Sofia. So 120 tier points each way, and then our tier points are going to be doubled because of the 5-day car hire in Sofia. So this trip is going to earn a juicy 480 tier points, which is a good way towards silver status. So Belfast and Manchester both look like they're worth investigating, but we can't really see whether it's a worthwhile thing until we actually go into the BA Holidays site and actually check that out. We can also have a look at the dates in Google Flights and just see if we can find better prices or some slightly better dates in that date time picker. We'll also need to look at connecting flight times because if we have to connect overnight, so there's actually an overnight stay in London, then that is going to bump up the cost with hotel costs. And I'm far too long in the tooth for sleeping on the floor. I think a video where you're watching me put dates into the BA Holidays website is going to be pretty dull. So I'm going to do some research now and then I'll put it all into a spreadsheet and then we can have a look at that spreadsheet at the end. So that's short haul plus with BA Holidays, but you don't have to restrict yourself to short haul plus routes with BA Holidays. You can look further afield. You won't get the same tier point value, or that is to say that it's unlikely you'll get 1 tier point for every £2 you spend. But if you're planning to go somewhere anyway, you might think it's worth adding it into your plan. Qatar Airways is part of the One World Alliance, so if you're heading east, you might find yourself in the world's best business class, the Qatar Q Suite. Now, I've started with Google Flights to narrow down locations that might be suitable, and I've found this 5-night stay in Bangkok for £2,198. This is flying with Qatar, so I'd get 140 points from London to Doha and then 140 points from Doha to Bangkok. So the return trip gives you 1,120 tier points when it's doubled. And now for something completely different. Abu Dhabi to Jakarta is a bit of a leap from London to Sofia to this, isn't it? It's a well-known tier point run, but unlike the West Coast USA runs, it requires no specialist tools, just Google Flights. We won't be flying BA here, we're flying with Sri Lankan, but they're part of the One World Alliance, so just make sure you add your executive club number to the booking. Now, the reason that this flight is so lucrative is that you'll fly via Sri Lanka's hub in Colombo, and the distance from Abu Dhabi to Colombo is just over 2,000 miles, and you'll earn 140 tier points. And then from Colombo to Jakarta is also just over 2,000 miles, and you will again earn 140 tier points. So the round trip will earn 560 tier points, and the prices are usually very competitive. It's just 814 everywhere, is it? So we only need one night because we just want the tier points. So we can pretty much pick it at will. So just first to the, second to the third will, lost the price. Is that because it's one night? 1 day trips. Yeah. Looks like if you go for a 1 day trip, you lose the price. If you go for a 2 day trip, then you get the price. So we'll just pick any old dates. It doesn't really matter. We can pretty much slot that into our spreadsheet at will. Now, there's going to be some positioning costs here. We've got to get to Abu Dhabi. So I imagine the dates that we end up flying, or the dates I end up putting in the spreadsheet, will be the dates where the positioning costs are a little bit lower. There's going to be some hotels as well, because we're pretty much just taking this trip, Abu Dhabi, Jakarta and back, just for the tier points. So it's not really a holiday. There isn't really any other value in there. So I think we should add in all of the positioning costs. So I'll have a look for some positioning costs and then I'll add them all into the spreadsheet. But just before I move on, that flight to Jakarta could be the entranceway to an Asian adventure. Jakarta is the capital of Indonesia and is very close to Bali and Lombok. So you could book your return with a couple of weeks or a couple of months in between the flights if you wanted. So before you return to Abu Dhabi, you could explore Asia and add lots of value to your trip. Okay, well, again, I think I've been talking for long enough and I'm ready for another cup of tea. So I'm going to talk about another 2 routes that are easy to book and can offer value. Then I'm going to open up my spreadsheet and I'll show you what I've found and which trips I would book. So the first of the 2 final routes is from Jersey to Amsterdam. It's another easy to book trip and you'll fly via London by default. And this has offered really good value in the past for the 160 tier points that you'll earn on a round trip. And then the final route that can be acceptable or can give you good enough value is booking flights from London to other UK regional airports. It's easy to complete a round trip in 1 day and it's perfect if you find yourself a few points short of a particular status level. But I have found London to Glasgow for £188 in March. It is more than £2, it's more than the £2 per point target, but it could be the best option if you're 80 points short and running low on annual leave. So let's have a look at the final spreadsheet. So you should be able to see on your screen that I've actually managed to get some pretty good value in here for some European trips, taking advantage of the BA double tier points offer. Manchester to Athens looks really good and I might actually take that myself next year. And then for Sofia, again, Manchester I think comes out really good, and you'd land in Manchester on the 19th and you could fly out of Manchester again on the 21st. So a couple of nights perhaps in a hotel there, or I mean, for me, I live nearby, so I'd just drive home. Istanbul and Bucharest have both come out okay. The hotel in Bucharest is not ideal. It's a bit north of Revolution Square. Really, you want to be a little bit further south than that. You want to be a bit closer to Old Town than that Mercure hotel. But there were other hotels that weren't that much more expensive. It just depends on how you want to value that trip. That long haul deal came back really good from Bangkok, and it was the Birmingham to Bangkok with 5 nights at the Ibis that actually offered really good value. The next cheapest was from London, and that was 2,766. So it was sort of like, you know, 500 quid more expensive. Well, Abu Dhabi to Jakarta, what a performance. £814 is more than I've seen in the past. I've normally seen this for around £750, and it has been as low as like £550 pre-pandemic days. But with the positioning costs and the hotel costs, I can't get it to come out at under £2 a tier point. And it is very much a flight, you know, based thing. We're not really getting a huge amount of additional value out of that. So I'm not sure how you would possibly make this worthwhile. I did look at doing 2 round trips, and that kind of got me close. And then I put in 3 round trips, and that got us under £2 per tier point. But it was then still over £3,000 because we had more points than we actually needed. Now, if you've done this and you think I've got this wrong, freeze frame YouTube, have a look at this and tell me where I've gone wrong in the comments. Now, I did try getting clever with this. So I tried doing a BA Holidays double tier point holiday from Manchester to Abu Dhabi, and that would have generated 720 tier points along with the Jakarta run. That gets us quite close, and we've got some nice flights in there. A good haul of points as well, but it's £3,000 and we're still not gold. And then also I did think about going from Oslo to Abu Dhabi. I've heard about that from another YouTuber, I think. I can't remember who it was. But if you fly from Oslo to Abu Dhabi with Qatar, you'll get 400 tier points round trip, and you know, you'll get 4 really nice flights, and then you can do your Jakarta run. You're reducing your hotel costs, but I haven't even put the hotel costs into that one. But we're still getting more than £2 per tier point. So the grand reveal, what would I do if I was trying to go gold in March, and would I do it for under £3,000? Well, the answer is yes, I would be able to do it for under £3,000, and there's 3 different ways that you could do it. I quite like that Manchester to Athens trip, and that was £754, and that included a hotel that was actually in a really nice location. So that was a really good holiday, and I might be doing that anyway. And then you could go Manchester Sofia, which is the car hire one, for £491, and those match up nicely. And then I think the other one that I would add on there is I would add on the Jakarta run anyway, because I would then use that as a springboard into Asia, and I'd possibly visit family in Australia. So that might be happening in July next year. Watch this space. Option 2, if you didn't want to do that, is you could actually go to Athens. Has to be in there, I'm afraid. Manchester, Athens, and then go Birmingham, Bangkok, and you'd get 4 brilliant business flights with Qatar. I don't know if any of those are Q Suite. They might be the old style. You'd need to check if you desperately wanted Q Suite. But that comes in at 2,952 for 1,600 tier points. So both of those options coming in at under £3,000 and getting you all the tier points you need for BA Gold. And then finally is a southeast of the UK sort of centric trip, if you like. So I live in the Midlands, so Manchester, Birmingham, all of these flights, they just work out beautifully for me, don't they? But if you're in London, you might have some positioning in there. So what I've done here is I've got 3 European trips from Manchester. Now I know these dates don't all actually match up when you look at it. If you freeze this to look at it for a bit longer, you'll see that the dates don't match up, but I'm pretty sure if I spent enough time on this, I could find 3 European trips that would come in at a reasonable price, and hopefully we'd just do them back to back. So we'd go Manchester, Athens, back into Manchester, out to Sofia, back to Manchester, out to Istanbul and back again. And then we'd bracket all of that with a London to Manchester flight. So we go London to Manchester, 3 European trips, and then back to our home in the southeast in London maybe. And all of that comes in at a very reasonable 2,662. So we could actually put in a second positioning flight in there, I think, if we needed to, and we could have a brilliant trip. Well, I hope that was useful and that you'll be able to use the information that I've given you to go and book your own amazing adventures. And if it was, I would be very grateful if you could give me a like. As a new channel, it would help out with the YouTube algorithm and it would be very much appreciated. Please leave me a comment if you have any feedback on the video or if you have any tips of your own. Put those in the comments too, please. I'll be repeating this process in about 6 months when I start booking my own trips to renew my BA Gold status, which expires in July 2024. So if you found this process helpful, then let me know and I'll make another video in January or February next year when I book my own trips. So thank you for watching and joining me on my grey gap year.